tab shingles. These are a little easier to work with in the sense that you have a nice smooth surface. So if you're installing the splice foot or the standard metal flashing, there's some things to consider here. So the nice thing is you have a nice even surface. We laid a couple tabs out on top of the architectural. As we mentioned before, you have some uneven surfaces there. On the 3 tab, you're nice and clean surface there. You don't have to do any leveling or shimming at all, but you do want to be mindful of the seam here. So if you're right next to it, you may want to seal that up with a bead of sealant. If you're on top of it, you absolutely want to seal that up with a bead of sealant. And then when you're installing the metal flashing, you can see where if you're installing it too low, we talked about flashing placement. If you're too low, you can see where the seam is going to create some problems. Water can get underneath the flashing. If you're nice and clean and flush there, you are in the right position. You're into the 3rd course. You're not going to have any issues. In fact, you don't even need to put a bead of sealant on top of there. You just need to make sure that it's not on the side. So if you get a little closer to the side, you can see here, right on the seam, that would be a good idea to put a bead of sealant down there. But if you're directly in the center there, you don't need any sealant. If you're gonna do it as a protective measure and put it down there, there's no problem with that. But you just keep in mind that if you're on the side and you're flush with it there, then you do want to put a bead of sealant. So these roofs are a little bit more delicate. They're easier to work with in the sense that you have seams that are more predictable and you have an even surface. But when you're prying up the shingles to get underneath there, what you're doing is you're breaking the seal strip there that's prefabbed on the shingle from the manufacturer. So you're breaking that open, but these shingles, these tabs tend to be a little bit thinner, so you want to make sure you don't tear them. They're a little bit more delicate. So just be mindful when you're installing and you're using roofing bars on the 3 tab shingles, because they can be a little bit more tricky to work with, and they're not as long lasting. So be sure you do your site visit to make sure that it's going to last long enough for the PV system.